this. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Every time I've heard that verse, it was in regards to somebody doing something superhuman. Meaning somebody told me I couldn't do something, and then I remembered I am a Christian, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We're going to go right into Philippians where that verse was read, and we're going to discuss that verse because I want you guys to understand what it really means. So let's get into we're going to go Philippians. It's going to be chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4. But we're going to start at verse 10, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we got to understand what God meant when he said this. When he gave it to Paul, what Paul meant when he said this, and how we should receive and interpret it, as opposed to how we normally interpret this word. It says, verse 10, I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. He's talking about the people who helped him while he was in prison and while he was sick. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content. And in any and every situation, whether we're well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want, I can do all things through he who gives me strength. Amen. That was Paul. Now, when you hear it in context, there was a word that came before the actual statement that we quote and we put it on our shirt about content. Contentment is the opposite of religion. It is the exact opposite. That statement he said, I can do all things. We need to pull out this one word, do. The one word, do. I want to pull it out. In the Greek, it is iskaio. Iskaio is the Greek word for do. It means to be able, to have power over, to overcome. It is to be present and active. To do is more of to handle. So if you change how the word is given, I can do all things, it would become I can handle all things. I can overcome all things. I can have control over all things through Christ who strengthens me. Paul's talking about I'm content because of this. Not because I'm Superman. I didn't hear in any of those definitions did it say I can achieve. Did it say I can gain? Right? Did it say I can be number one? No, it didn't, because that's not the promise of the word. The promise is you're already number one when you have Christ. You've already achieved when you have Christ. You've already overcame. The word means to overcome. And you've already controlled your situation because of Christ. When you add the second part, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, you're a Christian. When you just say the first part, I can do all things, and you leave off the second part, you're religious. Religion is the opposite of contentment. Contentment says I have everything I need through Christ. Religion says I can get everything I need through me. Religion is selfish. It's saying I'm tired of being judged just once. I want to be the one judging. That's what we say when we become religious. And unfortunately, that's what happens to us. We find God, he's so good, we're just happy to be in his presence. But all of a sudden we start realizing, you know what, I keep getting judged by other people, and I walk with the Most High God inside me. Maybe I should be able to judge a little bit. Just a little bit. Not a lot, but just once. And that's when we become religious. The problem is that's not us. We're not defined by our religion. We're defined by our relationship with Christ. That is Christianity. That is the difference. Now, contentment means it doesn't matter. As long as I have Christ, I have everything I need. That's what it means to be content. All right, we're going to talk about somebody in the Bible. We're going to go way back to the Old Testament. There's tons of examples of people who were Christian before Christ ever came. Even in the Old Testament, they believed in God, they served God, but then that religion crept in just a little bit. Because for one split second, they wanted to be a judge. I want to judge so bad. But we're going to talk about one we don't talk about at all. A lot of people don't even bring this man up. He's one of my favorite judges. He's the 9th judge in the Bible. His name was Jephthah. Right? Jephthah. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Jephthah. And he's going to be in the book of Judges. I'll get you guys the actual verses here. Let me see. Let's get in here. Now it's going to be in Judges chapter 11. He's the 9th judge, Jephthah. Judges chapter 11, we're going to go verses 1 through 13, and then we're going to skip to verses 29 through 40. Again, I'll give you all his verses at the very end if you guys want to go back and read for yourself. Jephthah, Judges. Come over here with y'all. I hate being behind that thing. I told you I didn't need it, and I ran right back to it. See what happens? I don't need religion. but I'm going to run back over here because I feel comfortable with it. See, even me. All right. Judges 11, chapter 1 says, Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty warrior. His father was Gilead. His mother was a prostitute. Gilead's wife also bore him sons. And when they were grown up, they drove Jephthah away. Now, the way it worked back then, there's two ways this could have gone. This was the land of Gilead. His mother was a prostitute, meaning they might not have known his father's real name. Back in those days, when you didn't know the name of the father, you named the child after the land. So that's why they say his father's name was Gilead, because they might not have known who his father was because she was a prostitute. She slept with a lot of men, so they didn't know. But he did have brothers who they knew the name of the father. And the brothers drove Jephthah away. They said, you are not going to get any inheritance in our family because you are the son of another woman. You're not the son of our mother, you're the son of another mother, right? So Jephthah fled from his brothers and settled in the land of Tob, where a gang of scoundrels gathered around him and followed him. He's got a following of scoundrels. Sometime later, when the Ammonites were fighting against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah from the land of Tob. Now, why would they want to go get Jephthah? They kicked him out. The brothers didn't want him there, but all of a sudden, now there's war coming, trouble's coming. And at this point, they hadn't fought in a long time. In fact, they didn't have any warriors mighty enough to lead them against these Ammonites. Come, they said, be our commander, so we can fight the Ammonites. Jephthah said to them, didn't you hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why do you come to me now when you're in trouble? The elders of Gilead said to him, nevertheless, we are turning to you now. They said, we're not even going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the fact that we need you now. Okay? Nevertheless, we are turning to you now. We're turning to you now. Come with us and fight the Ammonites, and you will be head over all of us who live in Gilead. Jephthah answered, suppose you take me back and I fight the Ammonites, and the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them to me. Will I really be your head? Meaning, will I be your leader? Will I be your judge? The elders of Gilead replied, the Lord is our witness. We will certainly do as you say. Meaning, if you save us, we'll give you whatever you want. So Jephthah went to the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and the commander over them. And he repeated all these words before the Lord of Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the Ammonite king with the question, what do you have against me that you have attacked my country? The king of the Ammonites answered Jephthah's messengers, when Israel came out of Egypt, they took away my land. They took my land from me and the Anon back to Jabbok. I pray I'm pronouncing these things right. All the way to the Jordan. Now give it back peacefully. He's asking Jephthah to give back the land that the Israelites took. Then the Spirit of the Lord came over Jephthah. He crossed Gilead and Manasseh, passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites. Now, before we get into what happens next, he's ready to fight. This is what this man has been doing his whole life. He was cast out because of who his mother was, not who his daddy was, by his own brothers, his family. Made friends with these goons, became a great warrior to the point where even though he was cast out, the elders knew what he could do. They said, let's go find Jephthah. He's the only one that can save us. They make him their judge. He's going over to take care of these Ammonites. He's got God on his side. At this point, Jephthah had at least found someone that he loved because he had a daughter. He had a child. It's coming up a little bit, but I want to give you guys a little preface. In Tob, he was happy. He was content. He had someone he cared about, and he had his daughter. His only child was with him in Tob, and he had an army of goons. He wasn't worried about anything. He had everything he needed. But now he's the king over the Israelites. He is the judge of the Israelites. He is the lead guy. Right? So let's see what happens. He crossed over to Gilead and Manasseh, passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord. He said, if you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me, when I return in triumph from the Ammonites, will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering. Then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hands, which he was going to do anyway. He devastated 20 towns from Arar to the vicinity of Minnith, as far as Abel Karimnim. I promise you, I wish y'all could just read these words. These places. Thus Israel subdued Ammon. When Jephthah returned to his home in Mizpah, who should come out to meet him but his daughter, dancing to the sound of timbrels? She was an only child. Except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. Jephthah was content. He comes over, he becomes the judge, and then a little bit of religion creeps in. A little bit of religion. The same God that came and pulled him out from the scoundrels of Tob is the God that was going to hand over the Ammonites to him. But he said, you know what? I need to make sure. I need to make sure. Faith ain't enough right now. I need to double down. I'm going to offer whatever comes out to join me. And this time, his gate would have been, I'm sure he would have had a farm of some sort. You know, he would have had animals that run to meet you at the gate. He would have had goats and sheep or something would have came out to meet him. He was not thinking about his daughter. He wasn't even thinking about his daughter. The one thing that he had nothing else, is the one thing he forgot about when he became religious. His religion made him forget, you know what, there's something else that might come out to meet me that's not a goat or a chicken. Something I care about. The Lord never asked him to sacrifice anything. Religion asked him to sacrifice for a victory. God's like, you already have a victory. I took care of that, but okay, this is what you want. And God will always let you keep your word. Let me see. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Attack my people. All right, it says, when he saw her, he tore his clothes and cried, oh no, my daughter, you have brought me down and I am devastated. I have made a vow to the Lord and I cannot break it. My father, she replied, you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you promised. Now that the Lord has avenged you of your enemies and the Ammonites, but grant me this one request, she said. Give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends. And he let her go for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept because she would never marry. After the 2 months, she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed, and she was a virgin. From this comes the Israelite tradition that each year the young women of Israel go out for 4 days to commemorate the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. Now, there's a story similar to this, where God reaches out to a man named Abraham. Tells him, I need a sacrifice from you. And you can understand that sacrifice is the measure of love. Goes up on the mountain with his son, Isaac. Y'all know the story, right? A little boy named Isaac decides that I'm going to let you sacrifice me. Similar to what Jephthah's daughter said, go ahead, Father, do what you can. But in the other story, what did God do? So he stopped him. How did he stop him? A ram in the bush. Ram in the bush, right? Because God had told Abraham, I need you to do this to teach him a lesson. God never told Jephthah, I want you to go ahead and get religious on me. Start putting words in my mouth. You said this, therefore I'm going to let you keep your word. There was no ram in the bush for her. Unfortunately, she had to die. Jephthah only reigned over Israel for 6 years. Now, when you read through Judges, you'll find most of the people who reigned were at least 20 years. Minimum 16 years. He only reigned for 6. Why do you think he only lasted 6 years? He had everything he wanted, right? Why?
I think he only lasted 6 years because he wasn't being actually a Christian, he was being religious.
No.
So God was like, that's not what I told you to do.
Well, Jephthah was a Christian, trust me. Even though Christ hadn't come yet, he was following God. That's what a Christian is, one who follows God. It's just that little bit of religion cost him his life. It cost him his contentment. The thing that he thought he didn't want or need anymore, he lost. Home is where the heart is. People misunderstand homelessness. They think it's just not having a place to lay your head. That's not true. Wherever your heart is, your home, whether it's inside or outside. Amen. This man had to go back into a home as the judge of a people that shunned him without the thing that kept him going for all those years. The only thing he cared about was gone. For 6 years that man lived and died. He went out and died because he was already dead inside. He goes, what good is all this? What good is all this without the one person who cared about me, which is my daughter? She's gone. He wasn't content anymore. He was being religious. I go back all the time with you guys. In fact, you've heard a bunch of my sermons. You remember probably one where I told you how I had some good friends, 2 good friends, Sergio and Alex. Some of y'all been with me for that sermon. I lost both of those friends because Sergio, our player, Mr. Suave, Mr. Sancho decided to start sleeping with Alex's wife. And I was in between that and I didn't want no part of that. Well, after all that situation happened, I ended up losing my job because me and Sergio worked at the same place and he acted a fool at work, and so I didn't have a job. So I had to go start working at a call center. I lost my house because I couldn't afford it anymore. I lost my wife. We actually ended up getting divorced. We had just had another child, and then there was a whole bunch of stuff that took place in that time. But at some point, I was free. This is the first time I've been free. I'm 21 years old, and I've been pretty much tied down my whole life, right? I've been working hard my whole life. Since I was 15, circus, I've been out putting in work because I care about people. I never run away from anything. Even when I was younger, I never ran. That's just not me. But I realized that I was never my own. So for one moment in time, I was completely free. No wife, no kid, no real job. I mean, I had the call center, but that's not a real job. If anybody's ever worked in the call center, it just provides a little bit of money. I had a car. I was in great shape. I was still good looking. I was like, wait a minute, you know what? I'm 21 years old. This is the first time in my life I'm free. I got a little money in the bank. My friend Sergio goes, hey man, you can stay with me. I'm like, I'm staying with the player of all players? Of course. This was my best friend since I was 11. Went to Orr Middle School together. We've been together the whole time. I forced him, he forced me. He was just a little bit out there. I wasn't as out there as he was. I'm staying in this man's house, and his baby mother was, something happened with her household. She had to stay with us too. Now, he had a baby mama. Believe it or not, he's out there playing, but he's got a baby mama. Now, before y'all start thinking where you think this is going, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. Okay, pull your minds out of the gutter. I'm not that kind of man. I was still a good dude. Even when I didn't have Christ, I had morals, right? I had a conscience. So nothing happened between me and his baby mama. I want to throw that out there right now. But his baby mama was staying there, so it's me. I'm in the garage with Sergio. We had bunk beds, and then his baby mother was staying in the guest room, and we're in his house. Now, Sergio's house, his mom was there, and his stepdad. Stepdad was a hard worker, man. He'd go out and work. He was a construction worker. He'd work 12, 14 hours every day. I never saw him. Whenever I saw him, I just felt bad for him because he was always tired. He'd come in, say hi, eat, and go right back to work. His mother, Sergio's mother. How do I describe Sergio's mother? She was bad. She was bad in a good way. When I say bad, I mean it was good. And when I say good, I mean she was bad. Head to toe, top to bottom, everything about it was amazing. Whenever there was a sleepover, we was all like, it's going to be Sergio's house. Every kid, I don't care how old you were, from 10 to 200, wanted to sleep over at that house because of his mom. Right? And I think she might still be bad. It's like 30 years ago, she might still be bad. But she was beautiful, you guys. And so we're I'm having sleepovers the whole time growing up at their house. And you joke around, man, your mom's amazing. Oh my gosh, like find a woman like your mom. Well, I'm a 21-year-old man. And I'm in that house, and I see her now as a woman. But I understand, you know what? That ain't my woman. That's this hard-working man's woman. So I don't got no part of it. One day, Sergio's baby mama comes up to me, and she's like, we got to tell Sergio something. And I'm like, what? I'm playing video games in the garage. Like, why are you bothering me right now? She goes, his little brothers, who were little at the time, 8 and 10 years old, they found some pictures. And I go, pictures of what? They go, pictures of his mom. And I'm like, what kind of pictures? She goes, naked pictures. They found naked pictures. They were going through her stuff looking for something, and they found naked pictures. And I'm sitting there like, what are these boys doing? Why are they going through their mama's stuff? Now, I'm 21. I'm not thinking like a 10-year-old. 10-year-olds go through all your stuff. Y'all should know this. 10-year-olds go through all your stuff. You ready? Hide your stuff better, or just don't do crooked stuff. So I'm telling Arceli, like, okay, what does that got to do with me? I am good. I'm content. I'm living the life right now, playing video games. 21, like I said, still good looking. I'm getting divorced, but at the same time, I'm not saved yet, so I couldn't care less. I'm like, I'm going out there. I'm going to make up for lost time. Why are you talking to me about this? They shouldn't have been in her stuff. She goes, well, you know what? I think Sergio needs to know. Because when he gets home, these boys don't know what to do. She goes, they came to me because they didn't know who to talk to about this. She goes, are you going to just let this happen? I go, yep. Is there anything else, right? I'm like, I'm just not even focused on her. I'm like, look, you do what you got to do. I am good. I'm content. She goes, fine. Okay, well, I guess I'll put the pictures back. I go, wait, hold up. I said, you got the pictures with you? She goes, of course I got the pictures with me. I go, oh, my Lord. That little bit of religion was creeping in, y'all. All my contentment was about to go out the window because as much as I knew those were not my pictures, I didn't take them. I shouldn't be the one looking at them. I said, you know what? Do we know it's her for sure? Do we know without a shadow of a doubt that is her? I go, do you know? She goes, of course it's her. I go, I don't know. It might not be. And she goes, well, what are you saying? I go, maybe we need to just make sure it's her first. Why drag Sergio through all this stuff if it's not even his mom? Y'all see what I'm doing? Yeah. Right? I didn't have to do that. I could have just let her leave, went back to my game, maddened out, and been straight. But I had to see. So after thoroughly checking every picture from top to bottom, front to back, cover to cover, it was her. It was all 100% her. I said, you know what? Wow, this is bad. I go, we have to say something, Sergio. This is bad. I go, well, yeah, put them back. I can't. I go, get those away from me. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I can't believe you put me in this position. Get those away from me. These gratuitous pictures. Get those away. It was too late. It was too late. But I was like, now I was disgusted. Isn't it always the way, though? When you're doing something wrong, it's cool when you're doing it. But all of a sudden, when you realize what you've done, you're disgusted with yourself. Then you get disgusted with people around you because of what you did. You try to make them feel like they're the reason you did it. How dare you, Art? I'm sorry, I almost said her name. How dare you, Sergio's baby mama, break those and put those in my face, knowing I was going to look at them because you know she's bad. So she gets them away from me, and Sergio comes home. And I'm like, okay, do you want to tell him? And she's like, well, I was thinking about what you said, and I don't think he's ready for this. Maybe we shouldn't say anything. I'm like, what? You got to say something now. It's too late. I'm like, the boys are waiting. They're right here waiting, looking at you. She goes, well, are you going to say something? I'm like, well, I wasn't the one who found the pictures. But I guess I have to, since you ain't going to do it. Checking it out, went to my best friend. I said, Sergio, I got to tell you, man. I go, your brothers went to your mom's stuff, and they found some pictures, man. And he's like, what kind of pictures? I'm like, bad pictures, bro. I go, your mom, I guess she wanted to try some things, and she went out and took some pictures, and they found them, and they're bad. And if you want to see them, I go, the brothers know where they are. I don't know where they are. He goes, did you see the pictures? I wanted to lie. Everything in my body, every cell was like, lie. But I saw his baby mama standing right there, and I saw his brothers, and I was like, yes. I go, but only to make sure it was her. Understand? I go, I didn't want to see him. I was playing video games, man. They came to me. I go, because they were too afraid to tell you. I turned into Adam all of a sudden. Lord, how did you know you were naked, Lord? The woman you gave me made me eat the fruit. I'm like, well, your baby mama came to me, and she was scared. And they know we're homies from way back, so I let you know, man. I looked just to make sure, because I didn't want to drag you through no mess or no bull, knowing it ain't your mom. And I know now it's your mom, so I'm sorry. But I didn't look long. I just peeked long enough to know it was her, and I looked away. He goes, I'm like, yeah, man. I go, back. You don't even want to look at these pictures, man. They bad. Now, bad isn't a bad, not bad and good from earlier. Now these are just bad pictures. He goes, oh, my gosh. So his brother takes him to him. Unfortunately, he sees him. He has to see. He's just distraught. Mom comes home late on that night. She was a nurse over at Desert Springs Hospital. She comes home, and he's just like, he's disgusted with her. He's her father at this moment. She's sitting there listening to all it. How could you? And now the boys, they gotta say, and they're gonna be traumatized. They're gonna need counseling because of this. And she's just sitting there like she's a 5-year-old. His mama. He talking to his mama like he the mama, right? Man, I can't believe you would do this. And now our guests, they've seen the pictures and whatever. And she's just sitting there. She's just like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I never thought about it. I thought those pictures were gone. I can't believe it, whatever. So he's having at her, and he's like, you guys get out of here. We're like, okay, so we gone. Everybody's like, I'm getting out of here. He's going in on her. He comes back into his garage, and I'm like, is everything okay? He goes, it's cool, man. He goes, but yeah, man, you gotta go. Oh. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean I gotta go, man? I'm about to finish this game of Madden. What you doing? Go get some more, soda or something? What you talking about? He goes, you have to go. You can't be here. And I'm like, why? I did the right thing. I did what they were afraid to do. I let you know what was going on. Your brothers were distraught. Why do I gotta go? He goes, it's not because of mom. Mom couldn't care less if you saw the pictures. He goes, she knows she messed up when she did it. He goes, Dad's about to get home. And he goes, we're family, right? I know he's not gonna hurt me. He's not gonna hurt my brothers. He goes, but you and her, pointing to his baby mama, he goes, he might hurt you guys when he finds out. And I had this whole time, I'd never thought about who took the pictures. It never crossed my mind when I was deeply analyzing these pictures. Who took them? Of course, it was the dad, the stepdad, who was going to come home real quick and find out that his guest just saw naked pictures of his wife. So he's like, bro, for your own safety, you need to leave ASAP before he gets here because it's going to be bad. And I'm thinking about him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I don't want any of that problem. This dude works construction. He looks like John Rambo from the first movie before he got real muscle bound. I'm like, he's got, drills and all kind of stuff that can hurt me. I need to get out of here ASAP. I'm packing everything. I left some shoes. I just got out of there. Now, remember, I didn't like to run from nothing. Look what happened. My religion had me running from everything. Everything. 21 years I went without running from nothing. I faced everything head on. This one moment of weakness, and I ran. I had nowhere to go. First time I was ever homeless. Again, not homeless because I didn't have a place to lay my head. I had a little money. I got this little room. I had a little room. I think Town and Country on Boulder Highway, right it up. This is when I was staying in it, and I lived behind it. But homeless because that was my only friend. I had nobody left. I had no more friends. I wasn't talking to my family. My wife was gone. Remember, she'd moved on. I'm working at a call center. I had no one. No one to talk to, nobody to confide in. I was by myself for the first time ever. Ever. Couldn't call Sergio. He wouldn't take my calls after that. As a matter of fact, I have not seen him since. Haven't seen him since. Right? So I was so alone, you guys. I felt homeless because my heart had no place to just rest because I didn't have what I needed. You need people. You can hate people all you want. You need somebody to believe in you. Just one person to believe in you. So I'm out there running. I'm homeless. I'm hurting. And I'm thinking, why is all this happening to me? I was 21. I'm still good looking. Got a little money in the account. I don't understand. Like back then, I'm working at a call center. What's going on? Now, I hadn't found Christ yet. He was coming. But he knew. He's like, now that I've broken you down and I've shown you what religion is, you had contentment. But you sacrificed your friendships for religion. Now that I've shown you what religion is, I'm going to show you what love is. Go to my job, and I meet this woman named Michael. And I'm hurting bad, man. There's a whole lot of stuff happening to me at the same time. There was more stuff at that time, but I don't want to get into all of it in one sermon because hopefully I get to preach to y'all again. We'll get the rest of it out. I go to work, and this beautiful woman, she sees past all this loneliness. She sees right directly to my heart, and she's like, I'm with you. I'm with you. At the time, she shouldn't have been with me because I know she had a man. At the time, she shouldn't have been with me because I know she had a man. But she saw